Howdy Holeheads, future Kurt here. We've got a sick member of the team this week, so we could not record. So I'm busting out one from the Patreon vault. This was behind a paywall when we first did it, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. But it's a banger of an app, and we're talking about a British true crime show that is just a delight. So you're going to enjoy that. And when I told one Holthead that it's going to be something they may have heard on the Patreon, she said, well, it's okay, it's good you take breaks for the holidays. And I said, oh, don't you worry, we'll have a new episode next week, okay, during the actual holiday season, because this train don't stop. New app every week, regardless. So give this a listen. Ton of fun. This is actually a super fun app. I forgot it's the one where I found like a hidden love note that I wrote to my high school girlfriend, which is a lot of fun. And also a classic sure was damp today, Mom, when Kate once again draws her hard line on whether or not someone looks like someone else. She goes to bat for that again, and I react to it accordingly. So enjoy, and we'll see you next week. We're going to do a Mother May I. It's a pretty hysterical app, minus the murder. Enjoy. Attention shoppers. We've got to clean up on Aisle H.
What the other wolves think?
A true crime cleanup on Aisle H.
Diabolical.
Starting now.
Oh, he's telling you that she's bats.
Howdy, Holeheads. Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host,
Kateline.
Today we are talking about a K-Mun favorite, a little gem in the Nile that works called Michael Winner's True Crimes. It's available on Prime, and this episode aired in 1993 on ITV. That's right, we're dealing with a British true crime show. Kate, give me your overalls here. I know you were just oozing with opinions that you're dying to share with me. Let's hear them. I can't wait to hear what you thought of this.
This show is hilarious.
So funny, right?
It's so funny. It's not trying to be, but it is.
It's very funny. Yeah.
And is it just, do British shows have to do these little introductions? Like, I know it's kind of a trope where Americans, at least back in the day, would make fun of British shows. Like, they'd have a man in a robe with a pipe sitting by a fire opening a book and being like, let me tell you about this story.
Yeah.
But that straight up happens in this.
Yeah. That it's so true. And I suspect they're doing this because of budgetary concerns, because I got a lot of info on the guy, Michael Winner. Okay. I've talked about him before because he's directed many a Death Wish. Okay. Does that shock you a little bit to know?
Nothing shocks me anymore.
Well, he did. He directed a lot of other okay to decent movies that were... Some people don't like him so much. I like him because, one, I read his book that I got right here. It's called Michael Winner. Winner Takes All. You like that title?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's his book. And actually, stuffed in one of the pages in here, I found a piece of loose leaf that I wrote on during fourth period 22 years ago. I'm not telling you what yet, okay? That's what's getting kicked. But I got a little treat for you later, Kateline. Some words of wisdom from your boy K-Money at the tender age of 18.
Okay.
Here's the deal. They shot this in Michael Winner's house, I can tell, which I think speaks to the budget. Another thing that's funny about this, it breaks one of my cardinal rules for true crime shows, which is there's no actual footage. They don't show us a single real photo of anyone involved. Now, I'm going to offer this as a defense. It was produced in England on the cheap in like 92, 93. And this is another case of the internet makes us take everything for granted. Because think about it. If they wanted photos of these people, they'd have to contact people involved in the case or newspapers that have covered it. And like if they wanted to get photos from the family members or whatever, they'd have to make copies themselves or send the originals or send the negatives to England for them to make. So, like, I don't blame them for that, because I feel like that would have been half the budget tracking down photos for this thing. What do you think?
And international shipping.
Yeah. I mean, they're shooting for recreations and dialogue and actors and top-notch British talent. So we know where the budget really went.
And you know that I hate that. However, in this case, I'm going to give it a pass because it was just a laugh a minute.
Yeah. Same. Ever since my discovery of the British Office, I've had an obsession with like British stuff. And I can listen, because they're all British and shit, I can watch the reenactments and love it. Like, I'm not offended by it being bad or good. Like, I'm just on board. And I hear him say stuff like CID and the new boy. It's like, what do they mean by new boy? And that just means like a new hire. There's a lot of cool stuff in here like that. Before we get down to the dates, I gotta tell, one, Kate, are you familiar with this case?
Well, that's why I thought you picked it, because there was Netflix just did a multi-part documentary on this exact case. And when I was watching this, it seemed a little familiar, but I couldn't place it until they said the name of the boyfriend.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, it's Jens.
Okay. Now, Kate,
And what also struck me, the Netflix series is multi-parts.
Yep.
Hours and hours.
Yeah, four episodes.
4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And this has more information than the 4 hours.
Bingo. Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you, Kate. And like, let's kick it down the road talking about the Netflix doc till after we tell this story, because I've got a whole history with it because I was on the same discovery path as you. But here's what I want to implore the Holtheads to do. Log into Amazon Prime, search Michael Winner's True Crimes, Season 2, episode Prince on a Coffee Cup. I say, if anything we've said so far you don't know anything about, watch this episode first. Again, it's like 20 some odd minutes. We're talking FFTRT here, okay? Classic TRT. Watch it. Because when I watched this crime show, I didn't realize I knew the case until I Googled it afterwards, okay? Like, not even the names. And then when I Googled it afterwards, I was like, wait, I've watched that. How did this not ring a bell? But I can't explain to you the joy I had in having this story unfold from, like, a detective that is just supposed to wander around a department store. Like, we go from, like, suspected shoplifting to what happens at the end of this show. I mean, I was so delightful for me to watch this unfold. What about you?
That's why I wasn't sure where it was going at first and if I knew the story, because this whole department store angle, I was like, what is all this?
Yeah. It was so cool. Oh, I loved it so much. Holtheads, you don't have to watch the ep to listen to this. I just say for your own enjoyment, you should. But I'll wait and talk about parallels to the Netflix thing until we're completely done with this ep, I think. Just so we don't confuse matters. How you feel about that, Kate?
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's go. We open on a close-up of a coffee, or a tea, not coffee. You know that's not coffee. We're in England, dog. It's gotta be tea.
It's tea.
Yep.
That's some Earl Grey.
Pouring into it, slow-mo, and we see Michael Winner. And he's like in the corner of his house on the top of a chair, starts spouting Macbeth lines. Where's your head at, Kate, when this starts? And they're talking about Shakespeare too long, I think.
Perhaps the most famous quote from Shakespeare's Macbeth comes when Macbeth, about to murder the king, is having second thoughts. Enter Lady Macbeth.
I'm just thinking, oh boy, we're in for a hell of a time. This is so British.
Yeah. Now, they introduced this whole Lady Macbeth runner. And what's funny is it pays off entirely. When this started, I was like, boy, the Brits love them some Shakespeare, don't they? They really love that guy. But it's a good move because it's mentioned in court. Like in the transcripts, Lady Macbeth is mentioned. So I'm like, MW, you did it again. First Death Wish 1 through 3. Now this. Don't you love how often Charles Bronson comes up on the pod, Kate? Mm-hmm. Don't you love it? Do you ever think about Charles Bronson other than when I talk about him?
I can't say that I do, although I'm not keeping a tally of how many times it's come up.
Oh, well, I know it because I'm like, I can't tell that story. I've done that. I've already told Kate that.
Kurt, that's just a fun little tidbit.
That's not real.
Charles Bronson is real?
Yeah, but that's Hollywood.
Okay.
Anyway, I love the guy. I think about him probably every 3 days. I think something to do with Charles Bronson. But
you believe in Jesus, Senator? Well, you're going to meet him.
So Michael Winner, he hosts this, and we meet him at the beginning and the end of the episode. So here we are at the beginning. He sets the scene. It's April 30th, 1986 in Richmond, UK. Any UK listeners, I'm going to do my best on what areas and stuff. I don't know. I mean, cut me a little bit of slack. Are you familiars? You've been there, right?
I have.
Okay. So you knew the stuff?
Yeah. Richmond is where Ted Lasso takes place.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. Coming back for season 4. I didn't even finish season 3.
Yeah. Unnecessary.
Yeah. I can't believe that didn't jump out at me. Okay. And we're at a Marks and Spencer department store.
Mm-hmm.
Loved this. This has got to be like a JCPenney over there, right?
So Marks and Spencer, which the Brits lovingly call M&S.
Cool.
I think is like a high-end Target. It's not quite like an expensive department store, but it's not shitty like JCPenney. And I mean that, full shade to JCPenney.
So like a Macy's? How about a Macy's?
But it's more like Target because they have food.
Interesting. Okay. See, I said JCPenney as a higher-end department store, so I love that you're like, no, Kurt,
Oh
Denied.
no, Kurt,
Denied.
that's low. That's like bottom shelf department store.
Okay. All right.
But the M&S food hall is like a whole thing to Brits.
Food
Like,
hall?
The food part of it is no joke. Oh yeah.
Not food court, huh?
And you can see it in the B-roll because the characters are looking at sweaters, but in the back you can see people like taking food from a pre-made refrigerator.
Right.
Yeah, the prices are higher than at Target though. It's nice. It's nice. I don't think it's as great as the Brits think it is.
Okay. Would you buy anything from an M&S? Would you proudly wear anything from an M&S?
If it was good quality. I mean, I don't mess with any kind of synthetic fabrics. So I think a lot of their sweaters are kind of like a lycra polyester blend. I don't party with blends. I'm all about cotton, cashmere, linen, etc.
Silk?
Silk, of course.
Of course so. Gotta be silk. Okay. Kateline is a classy lady.
Yes.
Sounds like. Those are all classy items. I bet you buy makeup there. They still sell, like, you know, they probably got Sephora in there, right? Makeup Kate? VIB Kate. Forgive me.
I don't know, actually.
Okay. Well, mystery.
I think a lot of Brits get their makeup from Boots. That's their pharmacy, Boots.
That's the name of a store?
But that's more like high street makeup, which is like drugstore, basically. Lower end, but Boots sometimes has elevated stuff. You don't care. This is too in the weeds.
You're losing me. You are losing me. We open on a store detective. This was also super cool because there was like a string of burglaries going on, or what they had a word for it. Hijinks at department stores was like hot off the presses. This was happening everywhere.
A team of fraudsters had been operating in the area, and the store detective was suspicious of the couple she'd seen outside.
She sees outside the store that there's a young couple, and they're obviously together talking to each other outside the store, but then they come in the store and automatically part ways and go do their own shopping and pretend like they don't know each other. The guy is buying lady stuff and the lady's buying guy stuff. And the detective's like, what is going on here? But she watches them and they check out and they pay for their items and leave. And now this is where another detective would probably say, bye, see ya. I'm gonna go back to playing on my phone in 1985. But she follows them out the door because as soon as they get outside, they meet up again and they're couple again. They're like talking and kissing and smooching. And so she's like really thinking about it now. What are you thinking here, Kate? Are you like, good job, detective, back off, detective? I mean, I'm kind of impressed. What do you think?
I wouldn't actually think that that was suspicious behavior, because if they're a couple and they're shopping in separate departments, you could surmise that they're shopping for each other and they don't want the other person to know what they're buying.
True.
And then they come out and their items are concealed in bags and they meet back up again and go have lunch or something. That does not seem shady at all.
Yeah, you know what? You are 100% correct. And I remember the first time I'm watching this, it's like because of the way this story ends, I'm like, well done.
So he was given 2 life sentences.
But in any other scenario, I'd be like, leave them alone. What do you mean they're suspicious? Mm-hmm. Because she follows them to like the train station or the subway. What are we calling it over there, Kate?
The tube.
The tube. They follow them over to the tube and they're going in and she runs into an off-duty cop, like an off-duty detective. And she's like, listen, you see that couple? There's something up with them. Do you mind following them with me? And again, this is where we'd see some American cops go, I don't know you. I'm off the clock. Like, I'm out of here.
Oh, hello, Sefton. What are you up to? Listen, I've got to be quick. You see that couple? They're just going through the entrance.
Well, the girl's wearing a barber.
Yes, that's them. I think they're up to something. I've just followed them from the store.
Okay, let's stick with them.
And this cop says, sure, let's go. So they hop on the train to follow them to where they're going. This was, again, I'm going, I don't know. We wouldn't see this kind of dedication over here, right?
No, you're right. It would never happen.
No, especially because on the train, they go up to him and they're like, we're suspicious of you for something. You're up to something. Tell us your story. And they're a little bit defensive. The lady is for sure. She's like, was it a crime to shop in this country?
Mm-hmm. I've reason to be suspicious about your shopping trip to Richmond.
What are you talking about? This is outrageous. Can't someone go shopping in this country without being arrested?
This is when I texted you, I said, I hope you dream of Brits doing American accents. Ding, ding, ding. This was one of them, right?
Well,
this lady playing the young girl.
Yeah, but
what?
She tells the cops pretty quickly when she says, what, is it illegal to shop in this country? And she doesn't have a British accent. They're like, oh, where are you from? She says she's Canadian. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's doing like a weird Canadian accent.
Yeah.
But no, it's just a British actor doing a very poor North American accent.
There's a few slip-ups that the actors do. And like, I'm no accent expert. We know this. I am an impressionist expert. And I remind you, Kate. Oh my God, I was practicing it today. I forgot it. Can you please let me go, Daddy? Nailed it.
It's my favorite.
Our boy really froze. You make me nervous, Kateline, when I'm lining up an impression. I don't know what it is. So they bug him. They follow him on the subway. They ask him what's up. And then they go take him to Hugh Garden Station. Like, they're held in, like, the security office of the train station. Mm-hmm. On what suspicion? There's a lot of points in this where I'm going, I don't know if this would fly in other places.
I'm not familiar with the laws in the UK. Maybe you don't need probable cause or any kind of suspicion. You can just detain whoever you want. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know now they're way better at interrogations than we are. And when I say better, I mean they're like more humane and nice to humans and stuff. Like they give them 2 hours, they give them a break every 2 hours, all sorts of stuff that we do not do. But there's a moment here where, okay, so first off, they phone CID, which is like Chief Inspector something. It's like the cop station over there. And we talked to Beaver and Wright, that the VO says new boy.
On duty were Detective Sergeant Ken Beaver and the new boy PC Terry Wright on a training attachment to the CID.
Now, I looked up a chain of command on British police ranks in order. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. Constable, Sergeant, Inspector, Chief Inspector, Superintendent, Chief Superintendent, Assistant Chief Constable, Deputy Chief Constable. Great stuff, huh?
Yeah.
But why is the bottom one the same as the last one?
That's confusing.
Yeah, it's very weird. Anyway, I'm glad I brought it up, and I'm going to quiz you later.
I learned a little bit about that watching The Fall.
Oh, starring your girl, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Mm-hmm. So they take him to like the police station there, and they're talking to Beaver and Wright, and they interview him, and they're like, we're Canadians, we have IDs, I'm a writer on assignment, he's going to Bath University, we live in Bath, why don't you leave us alone? And they say that this goes on for several hours of questioning. Finally, the dude cracks and tells them where they live. They said they lived in Bath, but they didn't say where exactly. Finally, the guy breaks and is like, fine, here's an address. Turns out it's in West London on Baker Street, a street I've heard of because of, like, some other detective stuff. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought of Sherlock Holmes, too. I thought, that's pretty cool that you can just live on Baker Street.
Yeah, it is Sherlock, isn't it? I was thinking of The Great Mouse Detective, which is very much a Sherlock thing. What's up? You ever seen it? What's up?
Your head goes there instead of Sherlock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay.
I'm going to play a little clip here. It was originally called Basil of Baker Street, but Michael Eisner, of course, was like, young Sherlock Holmes didn't do good, so Americans don't know British stuff. So that's why they changed it.
Is this the residence of Basil of Baker Street?
I'm afraid it is.
Okay, this is where I'm curious about the rules over there. They take him to their house in West London, and the guy's like, see, our keys open the door. Can you leave us alone? They grab the door and say, no, we're coming in, son. Did they need a search warrant for this?
They do here. I don't know. Again, maybe it's different.
This was wild to me. Think about all the trouble we went through last week on the main feed to get a wiretap, where it's like, you need to have proof that that dude uses that telephone and all this stuff. And they're just like, no, we're going to come in with you and search everywhere. I couldn't believe it.
So you can see this is our home. Now can you leave us alone?
Not just yet, sir.
So they go in there, they're digging through the closet, they find more Marks and Spencer bags with like little tags on them that not only say the price, and they were all under like $50, right? Not only that, but it had what they were wearing when they bought it. And they say it's like worth over $2,000. I mean, they said quid or pounds. I don't remember, but they said 2,000 something, okay?
Must be getting over $2,000 worth of gear here. Got a bit of a thing about Marks and Spencers, haven't you, mate?
And they're like, oh, looks like somebody's a big fan of M&S. And they're like, wah, wah. So that is when they keep digging. And what did they find underneath the bed, Kate? Revealed to us with a cop with his ass straight up in the air, ready for delivery. Do you remember this fade up on the show? Do you remember this?
I don't. He had his ass up?
Yeah, because it was like a commercial break, right? So it fades in and out, and then he goes, oh, here's something. And he pulls the wig out from underneath the bed with all the ID cards and passports and stuff. Yeah. Remember that?
Just a convenient pile of fake IDs and fake passports.
And they're in there with the guy. I forget what, it's like Christopher No, I think is the fake name that he gives him at this point. And the guy goes, okay, take it off. Did you know what he was talking about when he said take it off to the boy?
I did not, but it was a fake mustache.
This was a big laugh for me. Okay, this was a huge laugh for me because I didn't see it coming, and he was just like, okay.
Okay, take it off. Come on, take it off.
What else is funny is that the actor who was playing this dude could clearly have a full beard by 5 p.m.
Yes.
This was a hairy dude. Okay?
It was a choice.
Which is even funnier when you know what the dude he looks like that he's portraying.
When he walked in the office that day, he was like a little nerd. His cheeks were real rosy, real timid, with the big, thick, black framed glasses, and he's a kid. I mean, just like a little mama's boy.
This actor looks what? He's north of 35 at least.
I didn't think north of 35, but he definitely looks older than the real guy.
He doesn't look 18.
No.
And Whole Heads, I'll post a pic of the side-by-side of the actor. He genuinely kind of looks like the real guy, but he looks like the real guy's dad. All right, so now they take him downtown to book him. Like, they're arresting him at this point because it's like, well, this is some sort of fraud. They don't know what yet, but it's fraud. So they bring with them all the stuff they find from their flat. They bring, like, bags of stuff, paper...
You're so proud of that.
Maybe I am,
You
Kate.
paused for, like, an applause break.
Yeah, I did. I sure did. Well, I think at the very least I'll throw in a good honey.
Good, honey.
So they bring all this stuff back from the flat. When they're booking him, they're like, okay, this guy's name is Christopher, fake name. And he goes, well, actually, you might as well use my real name, Jens Söring.
And at this point, I'm going, oh, Jens, I know what this is about, but I don't remember any of this stuff.
Me neither, dog. Me neither. And again, it hasn't hit for me yet because, well, anyway, kick it. Here's what I ask you. This is an 85, right?
1986.
If he had just let them put in his fake name, they might have gotten away with this. Right? They were never going to find out his real name. Maybe when they read the letters because they were addressed to Elizabeth and Jens. But what do you think? I mean, this used to be a slip up for people all the time back in the day before computers were connected. Like cops giving false names. I mean, this worked forever.
True. It feels like Jens at this point was tired of running.
You better change the name to Söring.
What?
Söring. Jens Söring. That's my real name.
And then they go to the woman who is like, she's like stone-faced, right? Like she's the one who's wearing the pants, obviously. But then when she finds out that Jens admitted who they were, then she's like, okay, well, yeah, here's the scam. It's actually quite simple when you think about it. And what was their scam? She just fesses up to their Marks and Spencer scam. Do you remember the deets?
Yeah, they were buying a bunch of stuff and then using like checks that would bounce, checks that were not going to clear at the store, and then they would go and return all the stuff, but they would switch bags and have the other return what the other bought.
Yeah, it's wild to think that there was a time in the world where everybody was so naive or nice, where you could have a book of checks and be like, this one's worth $1,000. Here you go. And you're allowed to walk out the store. I mean, that was the scam here, Kate, is they're writing bad checks,
yeah,
and then they're returning it for cash from at another location. And these Brits are impressed.
Where'd you get the false IDs?
That's for you to find out.
They are, which is sad. So my husband and I talk about this all the time, where you could get away with anything up until like the 90s, where you could just, like you said, say your name was anything,
yeah,
write whatever social security number you wanted to write. You could just write a check for 50 million and be like, or you could go to the bank and you could write yourself a check, take it to the bank, and they'd give you money. I mean, it was just like a crazy... The stuff that people used to get away with, and the fact that not everyone scammed everybody is kind of, I think, a testament to human beings. Because it just seems like it would be a free-for-all, but people were honest.
I can't lie!
The cops are like, boy, they're pretty honest with what they're up to. But it kind of sounds like they're so honest... They're hiding an even worse crime. So we still got to dig into these peeps. And I think that's a good move, right? Like, they're like being way too upfront about stuff. It's like, what do they really don't want us to know?
That, to me, is also a leap. Because these are kids. These are young people. And you could just say they're just being weird and they're just shoplifters. And to me, that's like entry level to crime. Not the thing you do after murder.
But what about all their fake IDs and stuff?
Yeah.
At this point, they had found all those passports. That's pretty shady.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, yeah. Well, they're about to find out a little bit more dirt on the dirty checks and where exactly they've been doing them. But first thing the show does is they cut to footage of a naked Jens driving a car at night, listening to the Talking Heads Psycho Killer. Oh, I was going to ask you, did you know that was the song?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty famous song. And But here's what's crazy. It was the real thing. This wasn't a cover. This wasn't subbed in for, like, public domain. They played talking heads in this.
I don't know how they got the rights or the money to do that.
I mean, honestly, okay, so like I told you, I had this guy's book. Sadly, he doesn't mention this once in that friggin' book. And he loves to talk about himself so much and all the famous people he knows and favors he calls in. So I thought maybe he was like, he's friends with David Byrne and was like, hey, can I use this song real quick? But he didn't freaking mention it. Does that ever get you, Kate? I mean, I feel like this has happened to me at least 4 or 5 times where I read an autobiography wanting to hear about one thing and it's not mentioned.
Maybe David Byrne was just a really big fan of this show. It's in season 2.
That's right.
Maybe he saw season 1 and was like, man, I'd love for my songs to be featured.
Hey, could be, man. That could absolutely be it. Although, you know what? I'm kind of burying the lead on what he directed. He directed a little movie called The Sentinel. Now, what's the importance of The Sentinel, Kateline? Some Holt heads are screaming right now. They're going, Kateline, you should friggin' know.
We've talked about The Sentinel on the pod before.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
What's it from, then? If you remember it so well.
What episode is it from?
No, why did we talk about The Sentinel?
No, I don't remember why.
It's mentioned in the Burbs!
Oh.
Look, Ricky Butler's talking about it when they're outside, and he goes, have you ever seen the movie The Sentinel, Mr. Peterson?
Did you ever see the movie The Sentinel, Mr. Peterson? It's about the old guy who owns the apartment, which is kind of like the gateway to hell.
Anyway, so that's the significance, and that's why I know and love The Sentinel, because it was mentioned once in the best movie of all time. And so now I know everything about it, got it on Blue, I've got production stills from it, all the good stuff.
I'm trying to remember what your acronym is for Burbs is the best of all time.
I mean, you just kind of said it. I think what you're looking for is to Bitboat.
Yes.
To Bitboat.
God, I love this street.
Okay, so now they're finding out that these stolen checks are all over, and this is when it jumps from just little old shoplifting to international fraud. So now it's like big time crimes. And I think this is when they're like, okay, now we got to see what's going on here. And so, but they still have no idea what the scam is beyond this. Like, what's so important about these two? And they get sent on other cases and stuff. But in the meantime, in their downtime, they're looking through these bags and bags of notes and letters and stuff. And what they find in there are letters written to, okay, so we find out the guy's name, Jens Söring. The woman's name is Elizabeth Haystrom.
So where were they? Paris, Brussels, Yugoslavia. Been at it all over Europe.
And we find out that in these bags and bags of notes are like love letters written between the two of them. Give me your lowdown on these love letters. What were you thinking? And this is where I have my little surprise for you. So keep talking.
Well, I mean, you mean aside from all the Macbeth quotes in these letters?
Here at last was the clue he'd been looking for.
Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, which thou towers in thine own esteem?
Like the first one they look at is from Christmas of '84, and this is our first mention of Macbeth and stuff, and it's from Elizabeth, and what's her vibe at her homestead in Canada or wherever it is she lives.
So in these letters, she is talking about how much she hates her parents and how awful it is to be home in their house with them and that they are abusive, I guess. She makes it sound like she's in a really bad situation, and then she starts quoting Macbeth, and this story kind of emerges in her writing like she's trying to convince Jens that she needs help getting out of this bad situation, and that it mirrors the story of Macbeth, basically. And she knows that. So she doesn't come out and say, like, hey, drive over here and kill my parents. But she uses Macbeth to sort of persuade him, like their characters from that story.
Yeah, and she, like, name checks it and quotes Macbeth, too. And the British cop was like me when I said flat. He was like, I looked it up. I knew that thing.
Well, I was sifting through the sacks last night. I came across 2 letters you should see. Take a look at this one first. It's dated 1984. The quotations from Macbeth. I looked it up.
But she's saying stuff like, God, how I wish Mummy would fall in the fire. And saying, oh, Mummy's on her 6th gin and blah, 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 blah. I'm miserable, blah, 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 blah. Yes, Kate? Did
you immediately think of that story we did a couple weeks ago where they tried to say that the guy was drunk and fell on the fire?
I didn't, but you're right. That was that. And remember how we...
Because we were like, that would never happen. And then Elizabeth is writing about how that's like a pretty common scenario. She wishes it would just happen to her mother. This is where I've got to do a segment for BYB, B-roll, you busted. Because while we're hearing these letters and stuff, they're fading from the actor portraying Elizabeth in British jail into her with Lady Macbeth stuff on. And this puts it in a very early 90s spot on both sides of the pond here, because this is British stuff and I can name American movies that do it, but they squeezed the video a little bit. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's when it's for dream sequences or like things we're imagining. It was a real tool in the early 90s around when video was getting hot. They squeezed it just a little. Interesting. And the biggest example of it for me is from Man's Best Friend, 1993, starring Adam Carl, my boy who was on the KBB pod. And I asked him about this, actually. He didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But even the poster for the movie is a squished image of a dog. And it's like, is this supposed to be like the dog's POV? It's a trope that I'm glad we don't do anymore. It sounds hella sloppy.
Yeah. You also see it a lot in like high-octane sports or commercials from the early 90s, too. Where it's like, wah, wah, squishy stuff.
It's 11 p.m. Do you know what you're wearing tomorrow?
Okay, so it's Christmas in 84. This note is like, God, I wish they were dead. And then fast forward to a note from May of 85, just months later. And it's like, Jens, now that you've done this for me, let's start our life together. It's like, what? What? So now these British cops are sitting here going, wait a minute. This went from shoplifting to fraud to what sounds like a double murder.
Yeah.
The case had gone all the way. P.C. Wright and his boss Ken Beaver had helped solve one of America's most horrifying and intriguing murders.
Again, watching this for the first time, I was just like, what? My jaw was on the floor. I was like, this is the greatest episode ever. So they keep reading these things, and not only do they have love letters between each other, they have a journal that they shared, which I've never really heard of before. Wasn't this weird? They like journaled together while they were on the run or whatever.
It's weird.
It's weird. And wait, before we move on from love letters, Kate, what do I have here?
A love letter?
It is but a love letter that I wrote to my then girlfriend Emily in high school, dated April 14th, 2003.
Oh, no.
Now, in the past, Kate, you've asked for examples of embarrassing K-Money stuff from the past, and I've said, wrong, you're not getting it. I'm not giving it to you. It's too embarrassing. But I've decided to read you just an excerpt of this, okay?
Are there any Macbeth quotes?
No, but I thought I was Shakespeare. That is for show. Here we go. Love is our newspaper. We read it each day, but as night approaches, we can't wait to wake up and have all the new stories to read. These stories, quote unquote, experiences we share will always come. And we will always have new information to absorb in our life together. What do you think, Kate? You look thoroughly impressed. I hope you didn't fall in love with me right now.
I can't imagine why it didn't work out with her.
Well, that didn't work. You didn't think that was romantic? Love is our newspaper? I mean...
It's a little... It's fun to see how your expression of love went from that to the vows at your wedding, which I also was privy to.
Wait, but those were good, weren't they?
They were, but I can see that progression from one to the other.
Oh, wow. Boy, that's funny. I feel like I don't know where my vows are, but I remember that they were dope. What's up?
This one is about love being a newspaper. Your vows were like, our love is like a movie.
Wow, my vows at my wedding were a list item before the list even existed.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Boy, that kind of sounds like I'm like a one-trick pony or something. I feel like
a little bit. Love is a piece of media.
Oh man, I'm busted. K-Money busted is what just happened. Okay. Busted. Well, anyway, love is a newspaper and or a movie. So they're reading these journals, or Elizabeth says, you know, what if Gardner found your fingerprint on that coffee cup he gave you? And the British cops, Weaver and Wright, are going, what is this all about? Who's Gardner? What are they talking about a fingerprint? But it's got Jens and Elizabeth sweating the fact that now that they've been fingerprinted in England, that fingerprint might somehow tie them back to something that they assume is in the U.S.
I think our next job is to check out who this Gardner and Reed are.
And so now the British cops are like, well, it sounds like we got to track down this Gardner. It sounds like he's a cop over there. But I'm not kidding. When the first example they go, well, that does it for Illinois.
Well, he's not from Illinois.
Like, So they just cold call every gardener that was a cop in 1986 or whatever?
I don't know how they even got that list.
A phone book? Maybe they ordered a phone book or something like...
From every state?
Okay, you know what? I bet they went to like Scotland Yard. Isn't that like the headquarters of cops over there, Scotland Yard?
Well, they are Scotland Yard. That's just what they call the cops.
But there's a building called Scotland Yard, I know, because Columbo visits it in an episode. So
now, why don't you some ruddy great detective from Los Angeles? That's who.
Detective? Ma'am, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I thought it was my bag. You see, I lost my bag, ma'am.
Sure, but there's a Scotland Yard all over. It's like a police station.
Oh, really? Boy, I'm learning a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning a lot. Okay. Love is like a movie. You've really... Okay. I can't stop thinking about it, Kate.
I f***ed you up
really
with that.
F***ed me up.
I f***ed you
Because
up.
it is like, I guess that's all I got. Okay. So I guess they get some sort of master list of all people in law enforcement named Gardner. And they just go down and call them. And eventually they call Bedford County, Virginia. And they find a Gardner. And that's where we cut to Virginia. But it's really just somewhere England.
Oh,
how great.
It is clearly still England.
Yeah.
The architecture, everything about it. They just slapped on some American-sounding like decals onto what they thought looked like a cop car. It's so funny.
And there's a little bit of ADR from like the receptionist or whatever that goes, Gardner, we got somebody on the phone who says they're from England.
The man says he's calling from England.
I love watching what other countries, how they make fun of us. It's a delight of mine. And this was in full force. Because she's like, they almost gave her fake teeth, I thought, which is funny. Anyway, I'm not here to diss British
from British
teeth.
people. Oh, no, we can absolutely diss British teeth.
Oh, okay.
That's on the table.
Okay. All right. Well, it looked like that lady who said England had fake ones in, like hee-haw, because she's in the background, like going. He talks to Gardner, and he's like, Gardner here.
The hell you are. Is that you, Chuck? Quit fooling around, boy.
No, it's not a joke. My name is Terry Wright, and I'm with the Metropolitan Police in London.
And they're like, oh, come on off it. Like, stop messing with us. I loved this. This was more a British guy trying to be American.
He's full-on cowboy.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because this is not the Deep South. This is the Washington, D.C. suburbs.
Yeah, and they literally call it the Deep South in this, which is funny.
I only know from the Netflix thing that where they were in Virginia was near D.C. because Elizabeth's parents were socialites and very involved in Washington culture. So for them to be like, hee-haw, thanks for calling Virginia.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, you don't know. I mean, we do the same thing with British people. It's like, no matter where you're from in England, you're going to have a Cockney accent and you're going to be a chimney sweep. And that's just what England is. Chip, chip.
Yeah.
Pip, pip. Cheerio.
Abbey Road.
Put a kettle on. Yeah.
Where's your tea? Which we did at the top of this, so I guess look at us.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, those real detectives they're talking about, Gardner or Gardner, he's interviewed in the Netflix thing, and he's got a little bit of an accent.
Started telling us, so I just got off the phone from me, and he told me, and Jens and Elizabeth's in jail in England, and we got to go over there.
He does sound kind of hee-hawish, but not quite as hee-haw as presented here. But anyway, once he convinces them that yes, I am British, can you answer me these two questions? Because he asks, like, do you have, and he says the name of these two, of the parents of Elizabeth. They're like, these Haystoms, do you know who they are? And they're like, yeah. And the British guy goes, okay, I got two questions for you. Are they dead? Yes. And were they murdered? And this is when old Gardner, his cowboy hat spins right off the top of his head. And he says, well, gosh darn it, we do. That happens to be the biggest case in Virginia history.
You interested in them?
Damn right we are.
That man gets on a plane and goes to England.
He does, and this is when they give us a little rundown of the murder that happened in Virginia. And they say, like, it was this brutal murder, Charlie Manson-like.
When we got inside the house, we thought we had another Charles Manson on our hands.
Of course.
No.
Eye roll central. But, like, in here they present it as, like, they drew 666 in blood. We see crime scene photos in the Netflix doc, and I didn't see any 666. I saw blood swirls from a body moving around. But anyway, they get this word of like, yeah, we know about Jens and Elizabeth. They were our number one suspects in this gruesome murder that happened of Elizabeth's parents. And like, we wanted Jens to give us his like DNA and footprint and stuff because we found like a sock print inside. And then they've been on the run for a year. And so Gardner's like, well, I guess I got to go to England. So he flies over. And now we've got like a dual team investigation. It's Gardner. It's a Beaver. It's right. They're all together interviewing Jens and Elizabeth.
And when Jens and Elizabeth saw Gardner at Scotland Yard, I'm sure they were like, oh, we're caught.
Yeah, that's true. Because Gardner specifically mentioned, I mean, they got the name Gardner because Jens talks about him in his notes and stuff.
So they know him. They do know him.
Yeah, and so they must have been shitting themselves when he rolls in. Gardner comes over to England and he gives them the rundown of like, here's their alibi. They said they were at a basketball game in Washington, D.C., but their rental car that they took, the miles logged on the receipts was almost exactly the distance if you drove to D.C., drove back to Virginia, drove back to D.C., and then drove back to Virginia, right? It's like somebody used this and their excuse was, oh, we got lost. And they were like, for 260 miles, you got lost, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're busting him on that, but they're not really cracking. They talk to Elizabeth, and she zips up. She says, no more, that's it. So they go back to Jens. They're grilling him about the mileage. And he says, all right, fine, you got me. I did drive to Elizabeth's parents' house, but it was not to kill them. It was to convince them to let me date their daughter. Because it turns out they were like these stuffy, she, Richie riches over here, and they didn't like me, Mr. German exchange student. And I was just there to beg for their permission.
They didn't like me because I was an ugly dickhead.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he's like, oh, this just fits together great for you bastards, doesn't it? He's like, oh, you just think, oh, I'm just this college kid in love, blah. And that's like, well, yes, that is what we're thinking.
It all fits in very neatly for you bastards, doesn't it? The college kid, blinded by love.
But he says, no, I did not murder them. When I left that place, they were alive. And I know that the house that they talked about where the Haystroms lived was called Loose Chippings.
I don't remember that.
Do you remember that?
Chippings.
Loose Chippings.
They named it that?
Yeah. I guess that's, yeah. And on the Netflix doc, the dead woman's brother is like, I don't know why you got to name a property. And I'm like, well, because it's cool. For one, Kurt Camper.
Yeah, well, that's a waspy, old school thing to do.
Yeah.
Rich people do.
And because Elizabeth's parents were very hoity-toity. They thought that, like, she was from, like, the first Prime Minister, Lady Astor, and like he was like a Churchill wannabe, right? Like Elizabeth's parents were hoity-toity.
Listen, my family has properties that have names.
Well, I mean, I do the property. I stole that straight up. Right? I love naming properties. I name cars, properties, everything. What's a place you lived at?
My family has a vacation home called the River Breeze.
Ooh, okay. The River Breeze. When was the last time you visited the River Breeze?
2003, maybe?
Hey, that was the year I was writing love notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing about love in newspapers, and you're out living it up. I already forgot the name. River Breeze?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this I love. They show the cops getting a drink at the pub. Do you remember this little bit of back and forth between the American cop and the British cop when they're getting beer?
Yeah, I find this very hard to believe that Gardner had never had a Guinness before, because he's like, the dialogue there, he's like, what is this? And it's like room temperature.
Well,
what?
I thought
he's like so confused.
He says, what do you call this? And I thought the other guy said beer, same as you. But I didn't even put it together. They're probably drinking Guinness.
It's Guinness. Why wouldn't he know what that is?
Yeah, I mean, Guinness has been over here for a while. But also, he goes, well, no wonder you guys talk funny. The Brits who wrote the script for this were probably cracking up. This dumb Yank.
Meanwhile,
right?
That dumb Yank can drink like Fireball whiskey straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably grew up on moonshine. A lot stronger than Guinness. It's just a weird pissing contest to have. Whose beer will make your tongue grow hair faster? Who gives a
Yeah, that's funny, because I thought it was strictly related to how it's be room temp, because that's what I was always warned about back in my drinking days.
Oh yeah,
you go over to England and that ain't cold, and I'd be like, what?
It's not cold. They do not with ice. I've had some room temp Guinness. It's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've had room temp beer when one's open long enough. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't drink it. I certainly wouldn't blame it on an accent. I wouldn't say, well, this must be why you guys talk funny.
Damn, no wonder you boys talk funny.
I did love that scene, and that's where they're going, okay, what do we got? We got nothing. I know. Beaver says, let's bluff his ass. Let's go to him and say, tell us more about this fingerprint that you think Gardner has, because it turns out he totally does have it. Gardner agrees to it, and so they go talk to Jens, and he does not take the bait. He, again, is a brick wall. And so there's Beaver by himself leading Jens back to his cell. Now, Kate, do you remember what happens on the outside of the cell? Because I was laughing my ass off at this part in the show. Well, do you remember what happens?
That's where we get that weird, slow push-in on his face where he looks demonic.
That part's so great. Is that when it... Well, first, before he goes in the cell, though, he says, wait a minute, hang on. Before I go back in my cell, I got a question for you, Beav. When I'm arrested, can you send me to Germany? Because I think I'll only get 5 years there. I mean, I'll get 10 here, but if I got to go back to Virginia, I'm going to get the chair. And Beaver's like, what are you talking about? And Jens is like, yeah, duh, I killed somebody. What's going to happen? And Beaver's like, wait, what? Say that one more time to me? Because Beaver's pissed because he's the only one there. And Jens is like, no, wait, I mean, you made me say it. And then he scuttles off into the cell. This was so funny.
Jens is so stupid.
So stupid. Such a child.
Well, why would you be so interested?
I killed 2 people, you know that.
And I mean, look, he has a good point, though, that he would probably do 5 years in Germany and potentially get the death penalty over here. Like, we are pretty hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I killed 2 people. You know that.
I mean, I didn't mean that. You made me say that. You're intimidating me.
It was an extraordinary moment.
But is that exactly what he said? We don't know.
I was waiting for this, Kate. Guess what, though? That's a part of the testimony of Beaver. He was flown to Virginia for the trial. So those are his words. I mean...
Okay, well, according to him, that's what Jens said.
Okay, but I did think of you, Kate. I said, Kate's going to have a problem with this.
Because a lot of this dialogue is just, like you said, the writers of this show having fun. We don't know that Gardner made any kind of comment about the Guinness.
Okay.
We don't know.
I agree 1,000%. The Guinness stuff is all made up. But again, this part's the case. I'm willing to believe this because they get Jens in an interrogation the next day. And this time, Beaver brings Gardner right with him. Now we got 3 cops to hear the story. And they cannot get Jens to repeat himself. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to talk about it. And then Jens says something that he thinks is super smart. He goes, all right, turn off the mics for a minute. I got a story for you guys.
I want to say something, but not if the recorders are on. I want this between us for now.
I have a question. If a suspect asks for it to be off the record and asks for the mics to be turned off, do the cops have to turn them off, or can they just say they're off?
I'm speaking completely out of my ass right now, but I think they can lie. I think that if you're not asking for a lawyer, anything you say in there can and will be used.
Yeah, you don't
right?
You don't have any rights.
Yeah,
why would
them.
you think that? And that goes for anywhere.
Yeah.
Not just England. That goes for here too. They're not going to be like, "Oh, well, he said to turn the mics off."
Yeah, honestly,
we better do that.
It's like when you have a source, like journalists, when people tell them off the record, they have to follow that.
Yes.
Right? Like that's the standards of the...
They do.
Yeah.
And they have to say in their piece that this source did not want to be on record.
Yeah. Cops don't have to do that shit. Yeah, and Jens thinks that he is so protected that he has him and the 3 other cops he acts out the murder for them with like a ruler, and they're like moving furniture around, and he's totally reenacting the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells the story. Then he went in there, and it was a crazy in love college kid wanted to date this babe heiress, supposedly, and parents were like, "No, you suck. You're not welcome to our fam." And then he stabbed him a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically tells him the whole scoop.
And so 2 British policemen and a US sheriff found themselves acting out a gruesome murder from America's deep south in a London police station.
So this is the end of the episode. We go back to our boy MW, Michael Winter, in the corner of his mansion somewhere, still drinking his tea, even though it's called Prince on a Coffee Cup. And he tells us that, well, Jens fought extradition for 4 years, but finally in 1990, he's sent back to Virginia, and he's found guilty, even though he pleaded not guilty. And he's tried to say, this was not admissible, because I told him to turn off the mics. And we were like, no, dude, we don't have to do that. And what else is funny is, one thing I love about Elizabeth, there's a lot to like about Elizabeth, I think, is when she found out Jens spilled the beans, she's like, yeah, I'm Lady Macbeth. I'm going to go back to freaking Virginia and take the heat. Like, I'm just going to take whatever my punishment is. It's all true. This was so funny now, here 30 years later. Both these MFers were released in 2019. That's funny because Jens got 2 life sentences. And Michael Winter says, in America, that means life.
So he was given 2 life sentences, which in America means life.
It does not, MW.
No, it don't.
It meant 30 years.
Nope.
And freaking Elizabeth got 90 years.
She pleaded guilty with a minimum of fuss and was sentenced to 90 years.
Also let go after 30. So anyway, so they recap it a little bit. As we leave them in 1993, they're rotting away in jail. Now, this is when I'm going, okay, who are these people in this story? And I'm trying to Google it, and like Söring is spelled weird. It's Soering. And I'm like, okay, maybe Haystrom will help me. And it's when I'm Googling where I see the real Elizabeth and Jens. And I go, wait a minute, I watched a whole doc on this on freaking Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rewatched that. It was a hell of a lot better watching it again after this, because I felt the story they told in this was way better.
Yep.
And like, it's only a part mentioned in the doc that feels too long and stretched out. When it's like, you could have done a whole episode on just this shit, obviously, because Michael Winter did it 30 years ago.
I think it says a lot about where we are with true crime documentaries. It's such a popular genre now that all of these docs are just getting greenlit. No matter if the creators have enough content to fill the time. It doesn't matter. They need them. All the streaming networks need as many true crime docs as they can get. So everything is a go, and this is clearly, they stretched it 4 episodes. It is 20 minutes worth of material, and we see it done so well here back in 93. And again, they left out all of this British stuff.
Yeah, I was, when I rewatched it after this, I was going, there's no way they mentioned this, what I just watched in True Crimes. There's no way they talked about this because I don't remember it. And they do essentially tell you the main beats, but they fly over the fact that it was like an off-duty officer was approached, and it like they don't spend any time in the fact that it was like this was suspected shoplifting at first.
Right. It's basically like they fled to England, but after a little while on the run, they were still up to no good, and they got arrested for shoplifting, which then led the cops to find out what they had done. It's like, okay,
yeah,
that's a whole episode worth.
Yeah.
But instead, they made us hear about details of the crime over and over again, or like explaining the letters to death, or like talking. Ugh.
Well, they spent a lot of time on the Manson and cult shit that we hate. We talked to that mountain man looking with the white hair and beard, talking about how people thought it was a cult. It's like they gave that plenty of time, and it's like, dudes, even in 2023, I mean, like,
it's so dumb.
They have a unit down there that investigates satanic killings. They started picking out stuff in the pictures. Mr. Haystrom had a V cut in his chin.
And then I feel like the courtroom stuff was endless too.
Oh.
The trial. I mean, I guess because Elizabeth,
she's a babe.
She's very pretty, and I guess they wanted as much screen time with her as they could get, and it's mostly her testimony at the trial.
Yeah, I would say this. Let's say you watch this on Amazon Prime, you love it, and you're like, what about this Netflix doc? You can watch the first episode and wrap it up then. Because like Kate's saying, episodes 2 through 4 are mostly trial bullshit. And the actual Jens guy trying to say that he only said he did the murder because he thought he'd only get 5 years and he did it for love is what his real reason is. And I'd say, no, I think this is because watching this episode we just watched, I think confirms the fact that he did do it. He was just a dumb kid, right? I mean, the way that his confession unfolded, it's like, dude, no, you did it. You definitely did it.
And he's such a weenie too, when you see what he really looks like.
Yeah.
He's like creepy looking.
And
who does he remind me of? I want to say it's like, who's that guy? Is it like Eddie Redmayne?
Do you mean perhaps another guy that looks way young? I just texted you his pic. Are you thinking of
gross,
the guy that's in American Primeval and also Divergent or something? I'm gonna pull his name real quick. He's got a funny name, Dane DeHaan. Is that who you're thinking of?
That looks nothing like him, Kurt.
Okay, look, that guy's 39 years old, and he is an actor that could play 12.
Yeah, but look at their lips.
Forget it. Look, you know how I feel about presenting you with lookalikes. This does not count as me saying he looks like him. I was trying to help you out, dog. Okay? So, who did you say first? You said somebody that doesn't look like him at all, Kate. You said somebody that...
Eddie Redmayne.
He doesn't look a damn thing like Eddie Redmayne.
Those lips, though, those like duck lips.
I don't see it, sorry. Don't see it.
Sure was damp today.
The Netflix doc is kind of cool because they have more pictures and stuff. And also, they interview the real people that we see portrayed in this show. Like, we see the real gardener, we see the real beaver, we see the real other guy. So that's kind of interesting. But again, I'd say watch that first step and be done. Is it list time? Wait, am I forgetting anything about the doc, Kate?
No.
Oh, this was kind of funny. The Elizabeth in this episode, the actor playing her, is a British lady trying to be American.
I'm a writer. I've been commissioned to do some writing here for a New York publisher.
But the real Elizabeth was a Canadian who sounded British.
He had a couple of pensions. I think they were fairly pathetic. I mean, I think he got something like, I don't know, $150 a year.
I really want to stress the fact that Elizabeth has only been honest throughout this process. Oh, and also in the Netflix doc, they talk about, the first thing they say about Jens is that everybody hated him. You did not want to be in the same room with him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I see it.
Yeah, he sucks.
Many people have said, you don't even want to be in the room with Jens. He is so argumentative and so arrogant. No one liked him.
All right, on to the lists. What do you got?
Kate's unnamed list. Nothing.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I don't think I have anything either. Well, yes I do.
Kurt's Kick-Ass List. Kick-Ass List.
The Macbeth of it all. That's a K-Money list item. That's a big one. I mean, right?
Okay.
That's a famous book that's been a movie and stuff.
Yeah. It's a play.
Not a book? Is that what you're saying?
It's a play.
Okay. When you read it, it's a book. So, got you again. Okay. Oh, I know. You find out in the doc that he took a shower, which we see him scrubbing himself violently in this. He took a shower after the murder and then drove naked, wrapped in a blanket to Washington, D.C. to pick up Elizabeth from the basketball game in movies. Oh, they were also, part of their alibi was they bought tickets to movies and stuff. I forget what movies they are. So that's why this show kept showing him naked driving the car.
With no context.
With no context whatsoever.
They must have cut it for time.
Yeah, I guess. But I think overall, I love this a lot, and I think Kate really speaks to it when she says, this did what the 4-part doc tried to do.
Uh-huh. In 20 minutes.
This is some killer storytelling, I think. From start to finish, it's like, I'm on the edge of my seat going, oh, I gotta do a podcast about this. I must force Kate to watch this immediately. And I think they did their job.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Now, are you going to watch more of these true crimes?
No.
I can tell you about
I'm not.
Oh, no.
No.
No. But they're like short and stuff. What's up?
No.
What if there's some real photos?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. Well, I've got more British true crime shows for you to watch that we'll be throwing down at some point, because I love seeing true crime from a different perspective than ours.
Right.
And of crimes we don't necessarily know about.
Yeah, we kind of only know, like, Jack the Ripper.
And there's a ton of crime over there. But yeah, so that'll be fun. Also, well, that's all I got. What about you, Kate? You got anything else? You got any last thoughts on Lady Macbeth here?
No.
No? All right. Well, on that note, I'm Kurt Bunny.
I'm Kateline.
Love is our newspaper.